Your chicks are dying in large numbers and you are wondering what is the problem. This video is right for you. Hello my people, hope you are doing okay. Welcome to Hanimi's World, a channel that changes the narrative of African village life, a channel that inspires you to do farming in your village, guys. Not only farming but agribusiness in your villages, in your African villages, guys. So in today's video, I'm going to show you some little tips that you have to put into consideration to grow these small chicks of yours into hens and cocks. So let's pop into the video. Is to give you some tips on how to minimize chicks today and make sure that these chicks grow into healthy hens and cocks. So guys, there are some things that you have to put into consideration so that you minimize the death of your chicks. And number one will be, make sure that you trust the company where you get your chicks. So very many diseases chicks get and are a result of the current stock. So you make sure that you trust this company's current stock where you get these chicks. So not to get these chicks that have a lot of diseases that have been got from the hatchery stage. So that is point number one. Because if you get chicks that are irresistible to diseases, they will just die without any reason. So tip number two is, make sure that you disinfect this chicken coop before the chicks arrive. So one of the disinfector we use here at our farm is Neuro Cleanser. As you can see, this is like a small one of Neuro Cleanser. So we use this Neuro Cleanser. If you can use jig to disinfect the whole chicken coop before the chicks come into that coop. Reason why you have to kill all the germs, viruses, everything before that would affect and cause diseases to the chicks. So another tip number three is, make sure that the chicken coop is warm enough. Warm enough, I mean not too hot and not too cold for the chicks. They recommend 35 degrees of temperature in the chicken coop. So you have to do that before the chicks arrive in the chicken coop, because coldness is one of the reasons why your chicks are dying. So tip number three, number four, yes. Tip number four is, immunize these chicks against diseases. Maracus disease at one day. Then, depending on the nature of where you come from, you can consider also immunizing Newcastle at one day, because there are areas where Newcastle disease is very, very common. So if you're in those areas, consider immunizing also Newcastle at one day only. Then you also follow the immunization, the vaccination program as advised by your vet. So another tip that you have to put into consideration is, when these chicks arrive, they are so exhausted and tired. So you have to put into consideration of giving them glucose in the first 3 hours of their arrival. Glucose and some vitamins in the first few hours to boost their energy so that they are able to feed. So one of the glucose we use is this one. You put it in the water. It's the first thing you put in the water. Don't give them food. You put it in the water so that they get the energy to feed, guys. So after you've given them water, you take 3 hours and give them starter feeds. And talk about feeds, guys. Feeds is another reason why chicks are dying. Make sure that you get your feeds from also a trusted company. So if you get poor feeds, you won't get growth in your chicks. You get a lot of death on your farm. So another thing you have to consider is, depending on the diseases in your area, most of these chicks have got a tendency of getting fever in their first days and getting also flu, depending on the area depending on the diseases in your area. So some veterinary doctors advise, like for these chicks, they came when they were pooping white poop, so they had fever. So we had to put oxygen 25 into their water. Number one, to treat that infection or to that fever, or to prevent them from getting fever. So you have to also put into consideration using some vitamins and antibiotics like that one in their first days to minimize their death. So guys, I think that is it. Those are the few tips that I would give you to minimize death. I'm not saying that when you do that, there will be no death, but we will minimize death so that we make sure that we make these chicks grow into healthy hens and cocks. And to put in another point to put into consideration is cleanliness, guys. Never forget that cleanliness is a very big factor in when you are rearing animals. Any kind of animals, you have to be clean. Wash the drinkers, change the waters, and clean their chicken coop. So guys, remember to subscribe, hit the notification bell, comment, like, and share my videos. Bye.